vitally important that the back three players develop a close understanding with one another, because they are working closely together as a special team. The communication has to be developed in addition to the tactical decision making. The fullback also has to recognise when the scrum half has been forced into the front line and is no longer in position to defuse the opposition's short kicks. When this occurs, he has to move forward to accept this added responsibility, and as a result, the pendulum no longer functions with the same efficiency. The scrum half has got to realise this and move back into position behind the line as soon as possible, thus releasing the fullback of his added responsibilities. The back three have to be most alert and will cover a lot of ground behind the line, but they do have the advantage of always being in the game. Here we see an example of outflanking the defence down the sideline, and it is usual for the fullback to make the first tackle. If the ball carrier has support, it is vital that the fullback concentrates fully on stopping the ball carrier. His first priority is to tackle him in possession, but if this is not possible, then he must at least hinder his progress and prevent him from moving on as a support runner. If the ball carrier does pass to a supporting runner, then the blindside winger will tackle him before he reaches the goal line. The scrum half will give additional cover by cutting out any inside options. As with all aspects of rugby, this will not simply just happen without many drills being put into operation on the training pitch. And here we see the back three working with an additional player on nullifying what we have just seen. It's important that the coach helps the decision making of the players who put a two-handed touch on the runner. And more often than not, it is the full-back that will take the attacker that breaks the line, with the blindside winger taking the end man. But occasionally the end player is too far wide for the blindside winger to get to, and therefore when that happens, the blindside winger and fullback interchange, with the blindside winger taking the inside player and the fullback taking the one on the outside. It is now important to develop the defence around the ruck. The work that all the players do in the breakdown is absolutely vital, but it is beyond the remit of this DVD. However, it is vital for me to explain how the defence on the fringes of the breakdown is constructed, because it's such an important and vital part of defence. As soon as a tackle has been made and the ball carrier forced to the ground, each defender arriving at the breakdown has got vital decisions to be made. If he thinks that he can go in and win the ball, then he must go in. If he's not sure about winning the ball, but he knows he can give slow ball, then he must go in. But each individual player must realise and understand that the more defenders that go into the breakdown, the more chance and opportunity the opposition will have of penetrating on the next phase, because they will have numbers. And therefore, the key thinking behind it for each player is that when he arrives at the breakdown, his decision is, can I make a difference? If yes, go in and do it, bravely, courageously, and within the laws of the game. But if there's any doubt, far better for him to join the defensive line and to give that line numbers, because that will give the opportunity to turn the opposition over on the next phase or the phase after that. Throughout the DVD, it has been emphasised that the defenders should work in threes, and perhaps the most important defender is the one who's protecting the inside shoulder of the person under direct attack. At the side of the ruck, in the example we can see here, there is no one protecting the inside shoulder of the first defender, and he becomes vulnerable to a simple switch play or a pass inside. A simple solution to this is to have a defender each side of the ruck protecting or guarding the inside shoulder of the first defender. These two defenders each side of the ruck are called guards. It is vitally important that the guard and first defender at each side of the ruck are formed first, and that at least two of the next defenders go to the far side to prevent the opposition creating numbers on the next phase. Spacings between defenders around the breakdown can often create problems, particularly as it is likely that the tight five will often defend here together. It is essential that the guard and first defender are close enough for the first defender to be able to touch the guard's shoulder. Spacings outside of this are entirely dependent on the agility and confidence of the players involved. It is imperative that the defence must dominate this area, but defenders should not stand so close that the opposition are able to move the ball out wide and outflank them. Several small-sided games can be developed which give the tight five forwards confidence, even when defending together against faster and more evasive players. A good idea is first of all to restrict the width they have to defend to build up understanding and confidence before widening the area to increase the pressure. Here, the pendulum defence assists the forwards as they defend against the backs. It is absolutely vital that the defence dominate this area at all times. And notice that as the ball is passed, the guard at the far side moves across behind the near side gap so that the line defence is quickly formed. The coach works behind them, and what he's looking for is for the line to be intact, the spacings to be as wide as each player can cope with, for the tight five to have confidence whatever the opposition throw at them, and for the guard to be subservient to the first defender. And remember, it is important that the defence dominates this area at all times. The defensive structure is almost now fully in place. We've got the defensive line, We've developed the ability of the players in that defensive line to work in threes. Then we've developed their understanding and their ability to make decisions. We've added to that the pendulum, which covers the kicks through, the kicks over, and the wide attacks. And we've just now set together a ruck defence which hopefully will dominate the middle. We're almost ready to run. But the final piece of the jigsaw is to try and make the defence now even more proactive. And what we are going to try to do is put together a defence where we have fast players on the outside at both sides of the pitch. One of the major aspects of the offensive game is for the opposition to try and create a situation where they have fast, evasive players running at tired, tight five forwards. It's this that we're trying to eliminate now. The most convenient way of doing this is to leave a back row forward, usually the number 6, on the short side with the hooker, and to have one of the midfield backs, either 10, 12 or 13, joining them as soon as possible. A problem might occur from a full line out if the number 8 is being used as a defensive line out jumper, often resulting in him being very slow away into midfield. When this does occur, it's a good idea for him to cover the blind, thus allowing 6 to defend inside 7 in midfield. The defensive structure is now complete and is completely proactive and is capable, as long as everybody in the defensive line can tackle, of dominating the opposition. The final part is to now develop a go forward. We want that defensive line to go forward and to attack the opposition. A defensive line that goes forward in this way is able to cut down the space that the opposition have to make decisions. It can get straight in the face. It will force errors. It will give the defence the opportunity to get possession and therefore to score tries. The first way of developing line speed is to work against tackle bags and tackle shields in the way that you can see the players doing at the moment. It's important that they go forward in line together. It's important that it is continuous. It's important that the players talk. And it's important that they always work together. But above all, we want them to go forward at speed. This then has to be transferred into the game situation. And to a large extent, it depends also on the quality of the technique.
push.
Yeah, bring away, bring away.
I'm confident that this DVD will have helped to clarify your thinking and will have helped you to improve your team's defence. But always remember, as a coach, that your duty is to work with each individual player in your squad, to make each individual player understand the game more, to have better technique, and above all, to fully enjoy playing this great game of rugby union. Finally, remember that this defensive organisation is dependent upon the ability of your players in the line to be able to make tackles. So don't forget technique. To develop the fundamental basic skills of every player in your team is an important aspect of coaching. Good luck, and I hope you both enjoy it and have success.